this bathroom and shower was built by me 3 years ago, literally to the month. 3 years ago. And I posted a shorts video where I said there was mistakes made and that I was going to come in here and kind of critique my own work as if it were somebody else that had done it. And so that's what I'm going to do on this video. And I do remember this job. I remember it very, very well because she had gotten this larger format tile, 12 by 24, and we were going to set it, you know, like in a certain direction. I think it was going to go that way, I believe. Then she came to me midstream and said, you know what, I would like a herringbone. And I'm like, oh crap, I don't like doing herringbone, you know, freestyle. If it's herringbone on a mat or something, different story. But it, you know, it takes, you have to focus in on what tile begets the next one. So that's why it's a little difficult. But yeah, that's the floor. And I remember that vanity that we got to set in, fun. There was some electrical stuff that went on with the lighting and stuff like that. And yeah, I did all the baseboard and the finish. I didn't paint, somebody else did the painting. But that's the shower. And so the beauty of this job and why I liked it so much is because two things. One, when I came up here to give an estimate, and this was nothing like it looked before, when I came up here to give an estimate, I said to her what material, because she explained to me we're going to have one type of tile here, there's going to be like a border tile in the middle and then on the top. And she took me downstairs to the garage, and all of this material was in the garage because her son facilitated picking out a lot of this material himself, and they just went and got it. So if it wasn't me that was going to do this shower, somebody else would have, but inevitably somebody would have done it, which is why they had all the material. Second thing I loved about it is because they had a little picture, not a picture, a little drawing, like a little SketchUp. This is how it's going to look, literally from this position looking at it. And so I already knew what the final product would look like because I saw the material and I saw the picture. So it was like, if every customer I had was able to articulate to me that, it would be a better world for tile guys. Anyway, I'm going to go in here and just pretend like this is somebody else's work. So, there's a definitive slope going on with the curb. I'm not sure why they didn't use like a solid curb top, which I prefer. I don't like these grout lines, although there's minimal. There's 1, 2, 3 grout lines. That's not bad. If they waterproofed up underneath it, then the grout lines don't really matter, but I would still prefer one solid monolithic curb top. But it's not bad. You know, symmetry is there with the cuts. There's clearly bull nose on the front and the back end. So I like that. There's some slight lippage on this piece right here where it jets out about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little less than that. But yeah, not bad, not bad. A little chipping going on with this chair rail. I call this chair rail. Technical term is OG. There's some chipping going on there, a little lippage. But to be fair, this natural stone doesn't always match up. It matches at one end or the other, but there's definitive lippage going on here and here, but not so much on here. Same thing. This jets out maybe a 32nd or so of an inch, so I can feel that. This is nice and smooth and even and flush. This is flush right there, but not over here. Again, these natural stone aren't always perfect, but I don't know how he could have gotten it flush on one side and not the other. Sometimes it's difficult to get both. You have to pick your poison. Like this is completely flush with a very, very slight lippage, and then this is completely flush with no lippage completely, and then offset. It's a pretty bad offset right there. But it's flush on the edge, you see? So it's flush here, which means these two didn't really match up. So the best you can hope for, if you needed, say, 16 of these, each one of these are 12, and it's 8 foot ceiling, 8 foot to the ceiling. and you need a 16, then I would suggest getting 20 or 25 so you could get a better match on these pieces. But you know, it's not bad. Not bad at all. I like the symmetry. Shower valve is smack dab in the center. Shower valve smack dab in the center. Well, this is offset slightly. It's about an inch off, a little closer to the wall. About an inch, and needed to go that direction. But I like it. These pencil pieces are nice and flush. A 45 cut, not a really clean 45 cut, could have been better. But it's smooth going across, no lippage on these. No lippage, little slight lippage here. Little slight, could have been a cleaner cut. The grout could have been cleaned up a little better too. I don't like those corners. That could have been dug out with a screwdriver or something before it dried up. Slight lippage going on there. But overall, ooh, I like the way the glass guy cut. He cut the tile to facilitate that little rail to go in there. This tile was nice and flush, no problems there. No problems there at all. Very slight lippage, very, very slight. Very, very slight, flush, 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 flush. Slight lippage there. That one's flush and flush. I don't know that the grout kind of dips in a little bit of a couple places, 1, 2 different places kind of dips in. That could have been cleaned up a little better, or at least some caulking put in there. There's no caulking in here, which is cool. The shower's over 3 years old. There's no separation between planes, so there's really no need for caulking. You know, so had he done caulking 3 years later, it probably would have been kind of grungy and would have been cut out by the homeowner and then recaulked, and that's kind of a pain, especially for homeowners that don't know how to do proper caulking. So good that he didn't caulk. The reason you would do caulking, only reason, is for separation. If there was separation of this grout in the future, because you know stuff moves, you know, 2x4s and all that stuff behind the wall, your house moves incrementally, constantly, and then that's the point you would do some caulking. But there's none here, so that's good. Very flush. I like this a lot. Nice even grout line going down. Again, those corners could have been cut out a little bit better when the grout was still fresh. Pencil down here is nice and flush. Tile are nice and flush. I like this. You know, the symmetry is on point. Full tile, full tile, full tile. Cut, partial cut, and then the next cut so that it's basically the size of one tile. And the same over there, half and half. I didn't even notice the top. Yep, half and half. And then partial 3 inches, and then the rest of it made up there. So yeah, not bad at all. These tile are as flush as they possibly can be. I have done these type of tile before in the past. Very, very difficult to get in leveling clips with this type of tile. Kind of the nature of the beast. So you just hope for the best, that there's not a lot of bend, because these longer tile, these ceramic tile, do have a slight bend. And so ideally, yeah, you use leveling clips on it. But then what happens is, with this type of ceramic tile, there's natural spacing in here. When you match one tile to the next, that's the grout line you get. But if you use a leveling clip, then you get that natural spacing plus the clip itself. So you end up with a larger grout line. So it's, you know, again, you got to pick your poison. Larger grout lines with leveling clips, or very, very slight lippage every once in a while, which we have. But overall, it's not bad. Full tile at the top. Little cutout there, little notch. The notch isn't bad. I don't see no overcut. Very, very extremely slight overcut on that tile. Nice 45 cut up there. There's a chip. This is flush. I like that. I like that. Flush. Little slight lippage right there in the corner, but not too bad. Nice 45. Nice grout line going across. There's a lippage going on with this L piece. Slight lippage on this edge here. That's kind of bothersome. The OG piece, very slight lippage, but not bad, not bad at all. The symmetry here, perfect. Half cut, all the way across. Larger down there, smaller up there. I guess that's very subjective. Nice slope on here. Nice slope on here. Water definitely shed off, and nothing to stop it because, you know, the trim actually is flush there. So yeah, not much to critique. I don't like the lippage on those tile, on those trim pieces, and I don't like the grout corners. That could have been done much better. Getting down to the floor, this is a marble tile, and I'm never ever hip on doing marble tile on a shower floor because of the way that we do things here as opposed to other countries where water is just able to leach out through into the ground and stuff like that with regard to concrete and cement products. And we don't do that here. We encapsulate everything. You know, so typically what you'll see with marble tile over years is this darkening, which is not happening because of the tile, it's just darker tile. But you see this dark area usually around the drain, and it hasn't happened here. What I don't like, because it's hard to see the natural color of this grout. The natural color of this grout looks like a kind of an off gray. It looks like an off gray, but then it's darker gray over there. And then there's a lot of efflorescence going on, and I don't know what that's about. I really don't, because it should all be kind of the same color, and there's a lot of color variation, which I don't understand. So I don't know how to overcome something like that. It's not bad. I mean, it's not horrible. I imagine when it's wet, it kind of fades into one type of color, but I'm assuming this is the original color, so all of this should be the same. And with all this white kind of showing, I'm not really sure what's going on. So yeah, a little perplexed by that. But you know, the cuts are nice and, you know, done the way they should be. On the edges here, there's no little pieces missing or anything, even though incrementally it goes down. The cuts on the drain. This is a crappy drain. I don't like these little aluminum drains. They're just cheesy. I do like the fact that the grates are smaller, because some of these cheesy drains, the grates are like 2 or 3 times that size. And I'm not using these drains anymore. I'm using the nice stainless steel ones, the very heavy, girthy ones with the smaller grate. There's a little bit of red guard showing on the edge. Don't like that. That should have been cleaned up. I like the taper cuts because that allows positive water flow down into the drain as opposed to having it flush and possibly pooling. So this allows definitive water going into the drain with the taper cuts done. And they were done nice too. A little rounded edge, and I can clearly feel that there is not any type of hindrance between the tiles. Well, maybe a little bit there. Hindrance meaning like a little lippage thing. But yeah, not bad. I love that the screws line up one way, like left to right, or even if they're, you know, front and back. But I don't like cockeyed drain screws. I don't know why that bothers me, so I love this. Small potatoes. You know, again, standing up from this direction, you don't, you know, you're not up close and personal, so you don't see all that little white going on, although I do over here. I'm not sure what that's about. Not really sure. But it's all flush. There's no lippage of these tile. Some of these tile might pop up during setting, or you push one down too far and then you hit the edge of one of the tile, and there's nothing like that going on. It's very, very flush. So I like that. And it probably drains really well because of that. Again, the slope coming off of the curb. The curb is done very nice. I thought it was bullnose on both sides, but it's not. It's only bullnose on the outside, which is okay. And then it's nice and flush and square on the edge here, with a slight lippage here, and then flush all along there. Nice cuts. It just looks really clean. Yeah. So that being said, ooh, a little bit of grout missing. I just noticed that. Right there on that cap, little tiny bit of grout missing. Not a big deal. Not a big deal, but I just noticed that. This is a DeLorean gray, definitively DeLorean gray. So that's easy to fill in later. Overall, on a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being the best, this is probably about an 8.5. I'm gonna say an 8.5. It could have, some of these smaller mistakes can't be overcome. Like I said, with the chair rail, natural stone is what it is, but I offered a remediation to that, just buying more and trying to match them up better. Matching up, you know, the ones that are chipped, get rid of those, or at least, you know, like cut off the edge of where the chip is at and all that stuff. Take a little bit more time. I'm sure if I put a level on top of that, that it would be nice and flush and level, and all these cuts of those tile are all the same size. And this whole center piece is exactly, if I took a tape measure, probably measuring up exactly. You know, there's not a discrepancy of, sometimes you end up with a large grout line at the bottom, maybe a smaller one midstream or whatever. I'm not seeing that at all. So, you know, overall, like I said, 8.5 from a 10. Yeah, mistakes were made. A few mistakes were made. It could have been better, is what I'm getting at. But, you know, the customer was happy, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. That's all that matters, no matter what they choose. You know, you may not like this design, you may not like the tile, you may not like the trim or how things worked out or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's the customer that matters, you know, what they like. So that's the best I can say about it. You know, I wish there were less mistakes, I really do, but, you know, even the glass guy made a mistake. Look at that. Little 1/8 of an inch lippage. None over here, but then an 1/8 of an inch, yeah, a little drop down there. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. But yeah, so that's my critique, as if it were somebody else's job. Like literally, that's how I would critique a job. And I would know what I know watching all of this stuff. I would know that he waterproofed everything, because I see the remnants of the red guard. I would know that he knows how to do tile. I would know there's not a leak 3 years later downstairs, that there are slopes the way there should be on both of the flat surfaces. So I would know a lot about this guy just by looking at the work. And, you know, I wouldn't have a problem hiring him. Not at all. I've seen worse. I've seen worse by professionals, so-called I've seen worse by companies, not just individuals, but a tile company that does worse work. But overall, not too bad. I love the overall scheme. I love the grays, you know, all the grays, even the countertop and all that stuff. I do like that. Not wild about the mirror. The mirror's got nothing to do with gray. It's more like a copper. How does copper fall into this? But anyway, that's it. That's what I have to say about this job. Did I do the lights? Maybe I didn't do the light. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, that's my job, and that's my critique of my own work. Hey, if you enjoyed that video and you learned something, consider being a Patreon member. $5, $10, $15 a month would help me greatly produce more videos. I make nothing from YouTube at all. If you're gonna call me for advice, please donate $50 for 30 minutes. My link to my PayPal and my Patreon account is down below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get immediate notifications as soon as I post a video. And thank you very much for your support.